Stream is starting along with recording. I'm going to go ahead and get my shares on. And then
I'm
we'll.
loud, so you let me know
You
if
good?
I need to.
You good?
Okay.
I can adjust. I can adjust as needed.
Okay.
Voting is our most important civic duty. However, you must make sure you are registered to vote and your voter registration information is up to date. Don't miss out on your chance to make your voice heard. If you're not registered to vote, unsure of your voter registration status, or need to update your status, contact the county clerk today. Then on election day, vote. No vote, no voice. All votes matter.
Stand by 30 seconds. Killick here, 102.5 FM. Good morning to you on your Monday. It's March 25th, 2024. This is Community Conversations. Kevin Winter is in the studio with you today, and joining me today is Mr. Rodney Govins. He is the Democratic nominee for U.S. Congress, Arkansas District 1. He is in town today, and he requested this opportunity to come speak today. And before we allow Mr. Govins to speak, I do have to give the disclaimer. KLK and the Voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, we do not endorse, support, or oppose any candidate for office. We do provide these interviews for informational purposes only, but we do, as always, encourage you to exercise your right to vote. Why? Because somebody is going to sit in a seat that makes decisions that will affect you. So why not have a say in who those people are? So, Rodney, how you doing today?
Man, I'm good. I appreciate you letting me come on, let me talk to the people here in Jonesboro. I enjoy always getting out talking to the voters.
All right, so for those who may not be familiar with yourself, let's just kind of start off with the basics. Just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and why you decided to run for Congress.
So, man, I always hate talking about myself, but
people got to know who you are.
I know, right? But man, it just feels so weird for me. But I'm a veteran. I served in the United States Army from 2001 2005.
Thank you for your service.
Appreciate that. Pleasure to serve. Shouts out to 1st Armored Division, Big Red 1, 82nd Airborne, 35th SIG. You know who you are. When I got out of the military, after serving in Iraq from 03 to 04, it really gave me a lot of perspective in life. And me and my wife started our life together. We finally got some kids 8 years ago, January 21st, 2016. Love my little terrorists. I mean, twins. But, I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a veteran. And I've also been in telecom for 20 years. And all that helped shape my viewpoints because I see how the people are mistreated at the highest levels of corporate and government. And it's about time that we start standing up and we start taking back exactly what we're supposed to. And that's our government. That's our seat. That's our representation. Because right now, I don't feel represented. I don't know how you feel, but I don't feel represented. So I think it's, it was far past time And then Dr. Chris Jones, his run was so inspirational. To see an African American stand up, go around 75 different counties in the state, and truly offer to represent people. He had so many offers, he could have done anything he wanted. He's a rocket scientist, for crying out loud. But he wanted to come back and serve the people, and that was truly inspirational. And, I sit back and I look and say, why not, right? Like, I know the current guy's not doing the job, in my opinion, and various people's opinion. I know we'll get into that later. So why not? I know I could do a better job, so why not?
Okay, and of course, let's kind of talk a little bit about your platform. What are some of the issues that are most important to you, and what are your positions on it? And what do you plan to do if you get elected?
Boy, Mr. Kale, I'm a court-appointed special advocate. I used to be a foster kid. I used to live in foster care at Worth Children's Home in Columbia, South Carolina. So coming here, I was always told by my house parent that when you make it, you got to give back. So being a CASA is the best job I never got paid for. I've been doing it since 2017. So I'm a good 7 years in August. I think I'm almost at 50 or 60 cases through those years. And one thing that really people need to understand is how foundational fixing foster care is. You fix foster care, if you can go ahead and fix a child today, you don't have to worry about fixing an adult tomorrow. And that's a profound viewpoint from Joyce Meyer that I'm looking at like, man, she's so right, because crime is cyclical, right? The system is cyclical. Well, we have an opportunity to break the cycle by fixing foster care. And currently, you have 4,400 kids in foster care in the state of Arkansas and 1,500 approved foster homes. As the young kids tell me all the time, the math ain't mathing. So if we can go ahead and fix that foundationally, we will lower the recidivism rate, because we're going to lower the crime rate, and we're going to actually increase tax revenue, because now instead of children aging out at about 300 to 350 a year without knowing their own social security number, we can actually give them the tools necessary to be productive members of society, and we can go ahead and train them and get them ready for the workforce. We can fix that child so we don't have to fix that adult tomorrow. Another thing is the Veterans Administration. Worst kept secret in the United States of America is the VA system is broken. Well, federally, we need to fix that. And we have opportunities there where a veteran gets out of the service, doesn't have to wait 134 days for their claim to be processed. We can go ahead and make sure that the appeal process, if after 134 days that veteran's told, no, you're not service connected, and they really want to appeal that, they don't have to wait 18 months to then get word back. And all the while, they don't have medical coverage. We need to fix that. Those are the two big foundational pieces. We also have some ideas around agriculture, around some of the hot button topics, right? And then from an African American perspective, what we really want to do is make sure that the community is getting the resources to be successful in rural Arkansas specifically, right? And a lot of African American communities stretched across rural Arkansas are getting cheated. They're getting slighted, especially when it comes to rural broadband infrastructure. Just so happens that as a 20-year telecom vet, I understand the grants that are out there, understand the money that's out there. And if you ask the citizens of Eudora, Parkdale, Portland, Wilmot, Star City, all these places that are out there, they'll tell you, when we came in, when I was working at Swift Fiber, when we came in and brought fiber to the home, it was the best thing ever. It's the best media. It's the best technology that's out there. And if it's good enough for the cell towers to be connected, then it's good enough to connect to your home. You're talking about cheap, affordable, reliable, and accessible internet for all. And that's kind of what we stand on.
All right, and we're speaking with Rodney Govins, Democratic nominee for U.S. House, Arkansas District 1. I am on your website, which is rodneyforcongress.org. Again, that website is rodneyforcongress.org. I'm looking at your platform. You did kind of touch on agriculture a little bit. You also have living wages, public education, criminal justice, healthcare freedom. You kind of touched on the VA, and also you have gun regulations, infrastructure, healthcare, public assistance, senior care and disability, international aid, boosting investment in our kids, and immigration and the border. Now, we probably won't have time to hit on all of those in this 15, 20 minutes that we have, but just what are some of these other issues that you think are pressing and pertinent to the community?
Man, let me talk about this living wage situation, because I think there's a lot that gets lost in translation. So a living wage is not going on to LinkedIn or Indeed and finding a job opportunity that says you need to have 3.5 years experience, a master's degree, and then your starting salary is less than $32,000 a year. That is not a living wage. And that doesn't add up to the requirements that they're looking for that particular position. It's about time we actually start appreciating the employees a little bit. No leader, and I was a director at a big time telecom company for many, many years. There's no leader that gets successful without a successful team that reports to them, that they get a chance to work with. So it's time that we start appreciating the employee. And one of the biggest things that bothers me, Mr. Kale, is my opponent decided to sue the United States government recently in a class action lawsuit. And he's the only sitting member of Congress that's doing this. He says he's underpaid. He says that he deserves back pay. And in the same breath, he says we can't afford to continue to fund Social Security and Medicare for our retirees, for my uncles, my aunts, right, that struggle living paycheck to paycheck on a fixed income. We can't afford to continue to supplement them and give them exactly what they earn. These aren't just handouts. This is what they earn. They've worked their fingers to the bone all their life. And you want to turn around and say that you're not getting paid enough. Now, I don't know if you know the numbers, but
I believe
would
the
argue,
average U.S. House member earns $174,000 a year.
I would argue that we probably don't need a pay raise for this guy or for me or for any member of Congress. I think it's time we took a pay cut. I think it's time that we actually represent the people, man. Like, you don't need back pay. And the job, while as stressful as it probably is, he ain't doing the job. He doesn't cast ballots when he's supposed to. He doesn't come back home to ask the constituency how they feel. He's not doing the job as it is. You don't owe any back pay. If anything, you owe the taxpayers back money. And it's about time that we actually get representation that understands that, that feels that, and that knows what it is to be broke.
So if you get elected, what will you do differently as far as making yourself accessible to the constituency?
So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to act like we never won. Because right now what we're doing is we're traveling around to every single county, and we've been to about 22 or 23 counties at this point of the 31 that we're looking to represent. We're going to continue to go around to these geographical areas, and we're going to have town halls, and we're going to have conversations, even on the hard stuff, even on the highly, polarizing topics, because we need to understand what the people feel, how the people want to go. A perfect example is the Buffalo National River, right? A lot of congressmen and state representatives went behind closed doors, and they decided that they wanted to change the river designation from a national river to a national park and preserve. That gives absolutely no advantage to the people there in Jasper and Fulton County, over there for the Spring and Buffalo rivers. Anybody who lives across that river, it's not going to increase any funding. Nobody wanted to listen to the people and how they felt. Everybody wanted to push that agenda. Well, I went up there and listened to those people, and those people don't want that river designation changed, and neither do I. And that's the kind of stuff that we're going to continue to do throughout the entire 31 county area, throughout the entire state if we have to. All the way down in Lake Village and Eudora and Chico County, all the way over to Harrison and Boone County. We're going to have town halls, and we're going to continue to come back and always talk to the people. I know that's a novel concept for some sitting congressmen now that don't ever come home.
Okay, now let's talk about the campaign trail. You mentioned that there are 31, 32, 33 counties in the district. It's a very large geographic area, and it's very diverse in the type of people that live there. But can I tell how things have been going on the campaign trail? What kind of feedback you've been getting from the people that you've encountered on the trail?
Man, we've been getting great feedback. That's the thing, is Republicans and Democrats alike, because there's a lot of hot button topics. There's a lot of fear out there, right? But there's a lot of common sense that we put behind things. And immigration, for one, is a good example. When you hear people talk about immigration being an emergency situation and a crisis, and you see these press conferences and you see these dog and pony shows, I'm going to call it what it is. And then you turn around and you realize that they had some bipartisan, non-slanted legislation to try to fix it back in January. And all of a sudden, the Senate leadership, I'll say, Republican Senate leadership, Mitch McConnell specifically, decides to halt it and say, we're going to wait till the election. I'm not the smartest man in the world. Now, I'm not Dr. Jones. I'm not a rocket scientist, but I'll tell you one thing right now. If my finger got chopped off right now, please don't wait until an election to call an ambulance. Please go ahead and get me to medical services, because that's an emergency. And that's how you're supposed to handle emergencies. So we apply that kind of common sense. And then in solutions, we always look at process, procedure on how to actually fix the problem, not just talking about it. You know, a candidate down in Crittenden County, I'm going to steal his saying for a minute, because he says you can always talk it, but can you walk it? And by walking it, we got to be able to propose solutions, and that's what we do.
All right. So if a person wants to help support your campaign, if they want to donate, if they want to volunteer, or if they just want to reach out to you to have an in-depth conversation with you to address their concerns, how can they get in touch with you?
So we can always go to the RodneyForCongress.org website. That's all spelled out, all lowercase letters, RodneyForCongress.org. You can always hit us up there. There's a contact page. We also need volunteers, right? We need people to phone bank. We need people to help us get the word out. You know, capitalize on what's that term? Name recognition, right? Trying to get our name out there so that people know exactly who we are and what we're trying to do. And donations is also a big part of the campaign, because let's be honest, right? You got to keep the lights on. You got to keep the water flowing. So, you know, definitely small donations is really what we're after. I'm not after $1 million. Now, if somebody wants to donate $1 million, please contact us directly at the website, and we can go ahead and cash that check. But really, it's, you know, $5 goes a long way. $1 goes a long way. Spare change. We offer that program.
I was just about to say that you, I know when we were talking off there, you mentioned that you had a spare change program to where people could take their everyday purchases and round up to the nearest dollar and support your campaign. So kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the spare change model is similar to what you experience at the grocery stores and Walmart from time to time anyway, right? You know, do you want to donate to St. Jude? You know, and then they ask you for $1, they ask you for your spare change. We're doing the same thing. And this is for the cause of democracy, because at the end of the day, we've seen administrations at the federal and state level make it harder for poor people in rural communities to go vote. We've seen where they're taking our schools and shutting them down. We've seen where they want to focus on cutting our Medicare and our Social Security benefits. So your dollar, your spare change, your $5 is going to this campaign that's going to stand up and tell them in Washington, D.C., no more. No more oppressing the poor community. Those are my people. I know what it's like to be broke. I know what it's like to be poor. And it's about time that somebody actually represented those people and not just big corporate interests. So definitely small dollar donations can help us do that. And then, of course, visiting the website, subscribing to our emails, keeping up with us, seeing where we're going to be at. And by the way, we'll be back in Jonesboro on Thursday at the Parsonage. The Vortex Political Action Committee will be hosting us for a fundraiser, and we'd love to see every single person in Jonesboro come out.
And what time will that fundraiser be Thursday?
That fundraiser starts at 5:30 p.m. at the Parsonage right here in Jonesboro.
And I believe today you're going to be on the campus of Arkansas State University.
I am going to be at A-State here very, very shortly. Tonight I am actually being hosted by the Pike fraternity there at A-State.
Pi Kappa Alpha.
What is it?
Pi Kappa Alpha.
Well,
I'm just saying for those who are listening who may not know what a pike is. So.
Right. Pi Kappa Alpha, I'll be there tonight, 7 o'clock, and love to meet more and more people out there too, so swing on by.
All right, we got about 2 minutes left. Is there anything else that you want to say to the listeners and viewers out there that we may not have covered? Or anything you want to retouch on?
Yeah, when you sit back and you look at representation, you want somebody who can represent you. You want somebody who can be approachable, somebody you can talk to, somebody who won't talk at you. And I know that we offer that. And I sit back and I look at our current representative who doesn't come home, who doesn't expel corruption when he gets the opportunity. Shouts out to George Santos, the most corrupt congressman of my time. And our representative didn't even cast a ballot there. We need a representative that'll vote for our Vietnam era veterans. And he voted no on that Burn Pit Act. We need somebody who actually feels what it's like to be an Arkansan, and that's what we offer. That's what we bring to the table. And if you don't feel represented today, you can feel represented tomorrow. All we're asking you is to get involved, cast a ballot, and take your friends with you. We need every vote we can get.
All right, and of course, we wish you the best of luck on your campaigns. We've been speaking with Rodney Govins, the Democratic nominee for U.S. House of Representatives, Arkansas District 1. And of course, got to end with the disclaimer, Kayla Kidd, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. We do not endorse, support, or oppose any candidate for office. We provide these interviews for informational purposes only. But as always, we do encourage you to exercise your right to vote. And of course, as we get into the summer, we will have more interviews with more candidates running for the various offices so that you can hear from those people who are wanting to serve you and to work for you, because our representatives, no matter who they are or what party they are, they work for you, the people. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Community Conversations. You guys have a great and blessed day. This is Kate, LEK, 102.5 FM.